Fibers. Fabric is commonly called cloth. Fabrics are made from certain types of fibers. Fibers are long, strong, and flexible thread-like structures. Natural fibers. These fibers are obtained from plants and animals. Cotton, jute, and linen are some important natural fibers that are used to make fabric. These are examples of fibers obtained from plants. Wool and silk fibers are obtained from animals. Wool is obtained from the fleece of sheep or goat. It is also obtained from the hair of rabbits, yaks, and camels. Silk fiber is drawn from the cocoon of the silkworm. Man-made or synthetic fibers. Today, besides all these natural fibers, we have man-made or synthetic fibers to make cloth. These fibers are not obtained from plant or animal sources. Some of the common synthetic fibers are nylon, terylene, polyester, acrylon, dacron, orion, and cashmelon. These fibers do not have the disadvantages of natural fibers, so are more widely used and more useful than natural fibers. Mixed fibers. Natural fibers are blended with artificial fibers to obtain more superior and useful fibers. These are called mixed fibers. Some well-known mixed fibers are terrycot, terylene plus cotton, terry silk, terylene plus silk, and terry wool, terylene plus wool. Cotton. Cotton is one of the most important fiber crops and its production is also the largest in the world. The use of cotton to manufacture clothes was known to the people of Indus Valley civilization. The cotton plant needs the following conditions for its growth: a temperature of about 25 degrees Celsius, warm climate during the growing period, a rainfall of about 60 centimeters to 100 centimeters is sufficient for its growth. A black soil is most suitable for the growth of cotton. It is found in the Deccan Plateau and the Malwa Plateau. A clear, dry and sunny weather is a must during the picking, harvesting season. Rains during this period can damage the entire cotton crop. The quality of raw cotton depends on the length of the fiber, its fineness, softness, strength, color and cleanliness. Cultivation of cotton. In India, the growing period for cotton is from March, spring, to November, winter. Cotton seeds are planted in the early spring in a well-prepared field. Cotton seeds grow steadily. The fruits of the cotton plant are called cotton balls. Each fiber grows to its full length and also gets thicker inside the cotton ball. The cotton ball matures and grows to the size of a lemon. After maturation, the cotton balls burst open and the seeds covered with cotton fibers can be seen. The heat of the sun dries these fibers, turning them fluffy and as white as snow. During this time, the cotton field looks like a field covered with snow. Now it is the time of harvesting. Cotton crop is mostly hand-picked. Nowadays, in big fields, machines are also used for cotton picking. From fiber to fabric. Ginning. The cotton fibers are separated from their seeds by the process called ginning. It was traditionally done by hands using steel combs. These days, a machine called roller gin is used for ginning. Spinning. It is the process of changing fiber into yarn. Spinning draws out the short fibers from the cotton wool and twists them together into a long, continuous thread called yarn. A simple device used for spinning is a hand spindle or tuckli. Another hand-operated device used for spinning is charkha. In rural areas, people still use charkha for making thread or yarn from cotton. Spinning of yarn on a large scale is done on spinning machines. Activity 1. To make yarn from cotton. Things needed. Cotton wool. Method. Hold some cotton wool in one finger. Pinch some cotton between the thumb and the forefinger of the other hand. Now, gently start pulling out the cotton while continuously twisting the fibers. Observation. The fibers from cotton are drawn and at the same time twisted to form cotton yarn. This process is called spinning. Spinning increases the strength of the fiber. Weaving. It is the process to convert yarn into cloth. The process of arranging two sets of yarn together to make a fabric is called weaving. The process of weaving is done on a loom. Weaving is done manually on a hand loom. Weavers weaving on a small scale use hand looms. On a large scale, cotton fabrics are made by big machines that run on electricity. These machines are called power looms. Activity 2. To make the weaving pattern from paper. Things needed. 3 sheets of stiff paper of different colors, a scale, and a pair of scissors. Method. Cut square pieces of 30 centimeters from each paper. Take one square and fold it into half. Draw a light pencil line across the end opposite to the fold, about 1 inch from the edge. Make a series of cuts 1 inch apart from the folded edge to this line. Cut strips of paper 1 inch apart from the other colored square papers. Take a strip and weave it alternatively over and under the strips in the first sheet as shown in figure. Weave the remaining strips one by one through the cuts in the sheet of paper. We obtain this pattern after weaving all the strips as shown in figure. Observation. We will get a woven mat which is similar to the woven fabric. Knitting. You must have seen a lady knitting a sweater or a muffler with the help of 2 knitting needles. In knitting, a single yarn is used to make a piece of fabric. Knitting can be done by hand using knitting needles. Nowadays, most of the knitting is done with the help of machines. Have you ever pulled yarn from a knitted article, say a woolen cap or a woolen muffler? What happens? A single yarn gets pulled out continuously till the entire fabric gets unraveled. Activity 3. Obtaining fibers from a fabric. Things needed. Cotton fabric. Method. Take a piece of cotton fabric. Look at it. It seems a continuous piece. Now, with the help of a magnifying glass, observe this piece. We observe that the fabric is not a continuous piece. It is made up of a number of threads interwoven with each other as shown in figure. Now, find a loose thread or yarn at one of the edges and pull it out. If no loose yarns are visible, we can generally pull out a yarn with a pin or a needle. Place the piece of yarn on the table. Now, press one end of the yarn with our thumb. Scratch the other end of the yarn along its length with our nail. Observation. We observe that the yarn splits up into thin strands. These thin strands of thread are called fibers. So we conclude: cotton plant, ginning, cotton fiber; spinning, cotton yarn; weaving, cotton fabric. Jute. Jute is a plant fiber obtained from the stem of the jute plant called patsun or path in Hindi. India and Bangladesh are the major producers of jute in the world. In our country, jute is cultivated in West Bengal, India's largest producer of jute, Assam and Bihar. in the low-lying areas around the rivers Ganga and Brahmaputra. Cultivation of jute. The jute plant requires the following conditions for its cultivation. It needs hot and humid climate. It requires high rainfall of about 200 centimeters during the growing period. It needs well-drained fertile soil like the alluvial soil. Its seeds are sown in March or April during the rainy season. The jute plant is 6 to 12 feet high. It bears yellow flowers. The plants are cut during the flowering stage. It is because good quality jute is obtained from its stem only at this stage, as otherwise the stem becomes very hard and it is difficult to remove fibers from it. The cut jute plants are then left in the field for a few days so that the leaves dry and fall off. When dried, they are tied up in small bundles, soaked in stagnant pond water and left there for about 20 days. In stagnant water, bacteria grow well. So, the gummy matter that holds the jute fibers to the inner part of the stem is eaten away by the bacteria. This process is called retting. It softens the tissues and allows the jute fibers to be separated from the stem. The jute fibers are separated from the retted jute stem by husks and pulled by hand manually. The fibers so obtained are dried in the sun and tied into small bundles. These jute fibers are eventually pressed into bales and transported to the mills. They are then spun and woven into textiles at the mills. Uses of jute. Jute yarn is used for making gunny bags or sacks and for wrapping packages. High-quality jute is woven into curtains, carpets, chair coverings and packing of linoleum. Today, fashionable shopping bags, table mats, jute beads and jewelry are also available in the market. History of clothing material. The early man did not know much about clothes. It is said that during those days, people used the bark of trees and large leaves to cover themselves. They also wore animal skin and wrapped fur around their bodies to keep themselves warm during winter. When it rained or when the weather became cold, they wore animal skins and wrapped fur around their bodies to keep themselves warm. Gradually, as man's knowledge of his environment increased, there was a desire for more comfortable ways of living. The most important discovery that led to a change in their pattern of life was knowing how to grow plants and grains. This was the beginning of agriculture. Man later developed the technique for spinning and weaving cloth from the fluffy substance of the cotton plant. Early Indians wore fabric made from the cotton that grew in regions near the river Ganga. In ancient Egypt, cotton and flax plants were cultivated near the river Nile and used for making fabrics. In China, silkworms were domesticated to produce silk fibers. The fibers were then spun into a thread, which was woven to make silk cloth. In those days, stitching was not known. People simply draped the fibers around different parts of their body. With the invention of the sewing needle, people started stitching fabrics to make clothes. Stitched clothes saw many variations since this invention. Today, Western-designed stitched clothes such as jeans, suits, shorts and trousers are very popular. At present, there is a large variety of fabrics to choose from.